Good morning, everyone. I'm Auntie Kara, but this video is not for kids. This is another edition of book reviews for grown-ups who love fairy tales. Today we are going to be talking my first Kindle review, The September House by Carissa Orlando. And this is the first cozy horror I have ever read. It was recommended to my friend on Book Talk, Michaela, who is fabulous. And I am so glad she suggested it because it was so much fun. It is your classic haunted house horror story. It follows Margaret and Hal, a couple who moved into this beautiful Victorian house, their dream house, wraparound porch, everything amazing that you could ever dream of, except it comes with a lot of ghosts. And it's called the September House because in the month of September, that is when things really kick off. That is when the worst of the worst happens. So you kind of follow Margaret and Hal in their journey living in this house. I will say it's a very kind of funny horror book, which sounds very strange, but it's true. The vibe of the book is very much like, oh, well, it's September, so the walls are bleeding again. Oh, dear. And it's really funny and nonchalant in the way that it describes these truly horrific ghosts and situations. So the main issue is that Hal wants to leave, but Margaret, his wife, is kind of like, well, this is our dream house. This is our home. Why would we leave? And nobody can really understand why she wants to stay. And she just kind of learns how to follow the rules and go along with what the ghosts need in order for her to survive and to thrive in the house. It does have themes of alcoholism. It does have themes of spousal abuse and domestic violence. And I feel like it deals with those concepts in a very cool way. Hal, the husband, is an alcoholic and formerly apparently abusive, and it kind of mimics Margaret's reaction to the house in that when Hal was in his alcoholism and being very abusive and violent, she would just follow the rules and everyone would ask her why she didn't leave. So just like the house, she stayed in that relationship because she figured that she could manage it, and ultimately her home is what mattered more than her safety. So it's really neat the parallels they draw in those two. It's also filled with really interesting ghostly and otherwise characters. Her daughter comes into play a little bit, and a few police officers from the town. It's just a very colorful story, and I really enjoyed it. And I will say the ending did not take me at all where I thought it would, and it is a very satisfying ending. So if you are a horror lover like myself, if you are just looking for something spooky that you're not really usually into horror books, this is a really great entryway, especially it being the month of October. I'm going to read you one little section that I think kind of sums up the writing style, so you can get a sense of if it would be something you would be interested in. And this is the beginning of chapter 1. Alright. The walls of the house were bleeding again. This sort of thing could be expected. It was, after all, September. The bleeding wouldn't have been so bad if it hadn't been accompanied by nightly moaning that escalated into screaming by the end of the month like clockwork. The moaning started around midnight and didn't let up until nearly 6 in the morning, which made it challenging to get a good night's sleep. Since it was early in the month, I could still sleep through the racket, but the sleep was disjointed and not particularly restful. Before Hal absconded to wherever it was he went, he used to stretch and crack what sounded like the entirety of his skeleton. Margaret, he would say, we're getting old. Speak for yourself, I would reply, but he was right. I was starting to feel a bit like the house itself, sometimes, grand but withering, shifting in the wind and making questionable noises when the foundation settled. All the moaning and screaming business in September certainly didn't help me feel any younger. That is to say, I was not looking forward to late September and the nightly screaming. It was going to be a long month, but that's just the way of things. As for the bleeding, it always started at the top floor of the house, the master bedroom. If I wasn't mistaken, it started above our very bed itself. There was something disconcerting about opening your eyes first thing in the morning and seeing a thick trail of red oozing down your nice wallpaper, pointing straight at your head. It really set a mood for the remainder of the day. Then you walked out into the hallway, and there was more of it dripping from in between the cracks in the wallpaper, leaking honey slow to the floor. It was a lot to take in before breakfast. So there you have it. That's just a little teaser taste of it all. I really enjoyed this book. I would definitely give it, 4.5 out of 5 stars. And as I said, it's October, so please dive into something spooky. So what do you think? Have you read it? If you have, please let me know what you thought. If you do, please let me know how you liked it. I would love to hear. And also, if you have any other cozy horror or haunted house, ghostly kind of horror books recommendations for me, I am definitely hoping to dive more into that genre for my book list next year. So please leave your suggestions below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get more book reviews, and I also do kids videos too. I'll see you guys next time. Ta-ta for now.